keep it real with ya.
Hey everybody, it's me, Minu, back with another video. So many things to talk about. So many things. I'm so frustrated. I got new here. Um, so if you could tell by the last video, I recorded stuff and then I did not check the audio. And then the audio was messed up because instead of recording through this thing, my computer decided that it wanted to record its own stuff. That it thought that its microphone was somehow better than my microphone. And then you hear all of this like ambient noise and stuff because like my apartment is always humming. Always. There's always some noise because I have white noise everywhere. I have a thing going on right now as I'm recording this. Matter of fact, let me turn it down. Okay. Had a little mix up for a second. Everything fell over and then Sadie freaked out. um anyway, let me shirt. I can't even tell you what this is. This has been sitting in my closet forever. Anyway, so much stuff is going on. I have to re-record stuff from like a week ago, and then I also have to record stuff for this week, and it's very frustrating. Obviously, as you know, as some of you know, how this goes down, because it's not as fresh in my mind, and I really wish I could have gave you the one that I made last week, but I can't. I also have some stuff backed up anyway because I've made videos in between those things as well as doing weekly updates, so plenty of content for you guys, just not to the quality that I would like as fast as I would like to output them. But before I get into all that other stuff, I wanted to make a little video just to give you an update on my mental health journey. As you guys know, I have been doing group therapy. I've been doing inner child therapy. Um, I don't know how many of you watch those videos. They get demonetized and all that stuff. So I don't know if they even actually reach people. um, but we've been doing some, activities here and there. And it's kind of hard for me because people make a lot of assumptions about me based on like how I am or how I present myself that makes it hard for them to, I don't know, believe that that my traumas or stuff is as bad as it's been. You know what I mean? Um, because I'm not a very angry person. I rarely get angry when it comes to things that happen to me. I will get super upset for everyone else. I rarely get angry when it comes to things happening to me. So people will make assumptions like it really can't be that bad. You know what I mean? Oh, um because I'm just not walking around like heavily drinking, a hot mess, constantly talking about all the messed up things that have happened to me in my life. I don't do that. Now, I have family who does that. Family is heavy drinkers, heavy smokers, always trying to escape their feelings, but can't ever really escape their feelings because they're yo feelings. You know what I mean? Um, so it's like I have managed to kind of persevere. But if you look at even just my siblings, like you'll see the effects of like having the same parents. You know what I mean? Just because I didn't go the way that my siblings went doesn't mean that all the stuff that happened to me didn't happen or wasn't as bad or wasn't as impactful. It just manifests itself in different ways. Um, so I have a lot of struggles that people don't see on the outside because I also have the feelings of, you need to be perfect, you need to be producing. Your feelings would be a burden on other people if you let them out. So keep them in and make sure that when people ask you how you're doing, you're fine. Unless I'm just really messed up and then you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get so much, I'm gonna run you away. There's been times when I was like that in college. And some people stuck around, but a lot of people, they were like, "How are you, Minu?" And I'm like, "No, I'm terrible. Thanks for asking. I'm gonna tell you all my traumas." And they're just like, okay. You know what I mean? Like they just gradually disappeared. Like they don't ask me ever again how I'm doing. Because they know what they're gonna get when I say it. So but I, going to therapy and getting a little bit better to where I don't have to flood people anymore. Um but no, it is hard and I do struggle, and like the work stuff is making me struggle a bit more. And we've reached a point in group therapy where it's time to, you've gotten your little out, you kind of can identify your little, and by little I mean the inner child. You can have several different inner children. My therapist says the one she sees the most is 5, which is an interesting age, because when I think about impactful ages, my physical therapist said 2 is an impactful age. I don't remember anything until 3. Um, because I know a lot of stuff happened when I was 3, but I mean, honestly, when was there not things happening? 8 is a very impactful age. There was a lot of trauma going on that at that age. 16 was a very impactful age. There was a lot of trauma going on at that time. Um, and so I have several different impactful ages that are probably manifesting within me or just all living within me. But my therapist says she feels like she sees the 5-year-old a lot. So do I know anything about my 5-year-old? From the sessions, what I've kind of gathered with the 5-year-old is just that she is confused, maybe a little afraid, but mostly confused, doesn't really know what's going on. Things are just kind of happening around her, and it's just like, I don't know if it's gonna be this or this. It's just, it could be anything, literally. Um, yeah, my 5-year-old is just, she's just very confused, and like a lot of times when I think about like, I can't place my ages. You know what I mean? Like I can't say, there's not a lot of times where I can say I was this years old when this happened. Like I know what happened when I was 16. Um, but when you get like below the age of like 12 or 13, I can't remember a lot of stuff and place them next to an age. Like, I know I was 8 when I got my period, and that's pretty much it age wise. And I think I was 3 when my mom moved into a new house. Again, people have to tell me how old I was when something happened. I don't remember. But yeah, so the 5-year-old is very confused. She tends to do a lot of this, curl into herself. Which makes a lot of sense. I think that also resonates with what the trauma informed physical therapist says about how my pelvic floor is like this. When a normal pelvic floor is like this, like this. So that's a normal pelvic floor. Mine is this. So obviously that's not healthy. But your pelvic floor will do that when you experience a lot of trauma and a lot of unsafety, and your body says the only way I can keep myself safe is to curl into myself. And so I definitely see that with my inner child of the curling into yourself, the dissociating is a big thing, not being here type of stuff. And so I tend to do that, and I'm processing as I'm talking. I feel like I tend to do that more when I'm in my inner child group, when other people are talking about their experiences or their traumas. Um, I kind of dissociate a little bit. And it's not because it's like hitting close to home or nothing. Like that's the thing. My shirt's so wrinkled. We just gotta deal with it. I've literally not put on this shirt in forever, and it's not the most comfortable shirt, but it's what I was wearing. Um, and it's not because it's like hitting close to home. You know what I mean? It's not because someone's describing something that happened to them that is exactly like what happened to me, and I'm having flashbacks and all that stuff. It's because it's so different. You know what I mean? Like their experiences, though there may be some commonalities in a sense of like a narcissistic parent or an abusive parent or something like that, it's so different. And so I regularly get feelings of I'm different from these people. I'm not like these people. Some these people can still go around their family. I'm no contact, you know what I mean? Or these people have relationships, they have boyfriends, husbands, whatever. I'm single. And so I get an intense feeling of you are not like these people. You are worse than these people. And there was one time, and I've talked about it on this channel, where people were talking about, you never know, you might, have a relationship with your family again or your mom again or blah 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 blah. Or I feel like if your mom changed and wanted to come back in your life, you would do it. And I'm just like, What am I putting out here that you guys aren't understanding? Like, and it's not like I want to come into group therapy and be like, let me tell you how awful everything is. Um, I ain't big about that either. I'm just over here existing. And then I come into group therapy and now I got to talk about all the horrible things that I don't consciously think about on a regular basis. So it's kind of like frustrating for me. But I get that intense feeling a lot, especially when some of the people in the group, they vibe, they connect on their shared interests, they hang out outside a group. You always get the people who are like, we should do something, guys, but we never actually do anything. I've reached out to some people from this group and the group I was in last year to try and hang out, and there's always something going on. They're busy, they don't have time, da 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 da. Um, that's why my birthday was just me and one friend, because suddenly everybody else was too busy to see me. And so it's just like I get these feelings like they not too fond of you. You know what I mean? And it's like I can make people laugh all day long, even if I don't know what the fuck I said that made people laugh. But I can make people laugh all day long, but that doesn't mean they like me. Some people just like laughing. And I've had those experiences with people where they're here for the joke and not anything after the joke. I've had experience where I was telling something traumatic and the person had a look on their face where they were waiting for the joke so that they could laugh, but there was no joke. I was just being vulnerable and emotional. And I was like, oh, this ain't what you want. um, so I get those feelings a lot, and I struggle with if you have trauma, you've probably experienced these things, but I struggle with things like depersonalization, like not feeling like a real person um who's existing just like everybody else, like feeling like you're not. I wouldn't say I'm not human because I don't feel like an alien or something. I just don't feel like a person. Um from time to time. A sense of foreshortened future, which just means like you don't think about your future. It's hard to set goals because in your mind you don't exist in the future. It just doesn't. Like the only reason I would buy a house is because I don't like that my rent goes up every year. You know what I mean? Like I'm not thinking about planning my future with someone or like, oh, me and my cats are gonna be in Michigan. I don't know the fuck. Um, I don't think about stuff like that. And then I meet people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a house in the next few years. And I'm just like, good for you. um, so I don't have a lot of long term goals. I don't think about it. Like every time I look up and I'm like, damn, how old am I? Probably should have done those things that other people were having goals about. Last time I heard about goals, these people have achieved these goals at this point, and I'm just sitting there like, I didn't make any goals. I guess if I made some, I could have did it, but I didn't think I was gonna be around, And I was telling this to my coworker slash friend at this point because we'd be having like 2 hour long conversations outside of work, and she could not understand what I was talking about. Like in her mind, she was like, "So do you think you'll be dead? Like, why are you thinking about dying?" And I'm like, "I'm not thinking about dying." She's like, "Well, what do you think of that?" I was like, "I don't think anything. That's the point. I don't think about being dead. I don't think about dying. I don't think about a funeral. You know what I mean? Um, I just don't think, and when you try to tell me to imagine what I want my life to look like, I just kind of blank out, like there's nothing up there. And they're like, "What about manifesting? Manifest what?" Again, there's no me after so many years. Like there's no what is there to manifest when there is nothing there? Like I can manifest all day long, but if something happens to me and I'm gone, I'm just gone. I ain't gonna come back because I manifested that I would be a CEO at 30. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense to me mentally. Um, and people just don't understand that. Even some people with trauma just don't understand it because trauma affects you in so many different ways. No, there's no one way to be like a traumatized person. There's no one experience of a person with CPTSD. It's just not. Um, so like, and I literally had a time when I was hanging out with my friends, and don't get me wrong, I like my friends. But I was hanging out with them, and things got quiet for a second, and I was like, I immediately had the thought of like, oh my God, they're gonna realize I'm not a real person. You know what I mean? And sometimes, and I got off early on Friday and my coworker was like, "So what you gonna do? Well, what are your plans for the weekend?" And I was like, "What?" They're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You're getting off early. What are you gonna do?" I was like, uh, eat? What do you mean my plan? And like having to realize that people legit be doing shit after work. Like they be going on walks and getting dinner with friends and like all of this extra stuff. And my literal thought, like the first thing I wanted to say was, bitch, I don't exist on the weekends. I don't exist. I'm not here. Like I don't, even if I come in Monday and you ask me what I did, I won't be able to tell you outside of what I do every weekend, which is get groceries as early in the morning as possible. I'm talking like 7 a.m. Um, and then I retreat into my house for several hours. I will forget that I made a video. Sometimes I dissociate when I make these videos, honestly. Um, I just in my mind, it's like I don't. I don't exist. And then Monday comes and now I'm at work again. I put so much mental energy into working and being a functional adult in terms of like doing a great job at work. There's no me outside of this. And it's very uncomfortable because I think that's someone notices. And that's very, very weird. I didn't think people noticed that much, but I guess they do notice. Because I take my job so seriously. And somebody's like, it almost like you take it personally. And I'm like, yeah, I am whatever job I'm working at the time. Like I don't have an identity outside of that. And it's very, very uncomfortable because I want to, but oftentimes when you're working 40 hours a week or more, it feels like you aren't anybody outside of work. Most of your waking hours are working, sitting in meetings, trying not to look weird when you're not saying anything, but your face is still on camera. You know what I mean? Um, so I experienced a lot of that. So what happened? I think I mentioned this in another video, but so not this past group, but the one before that. People were sitting there, they were talking about their experiences, and I was dissociating. And I didn't even think that I was dissociating because I was like, well, I can like I felt like I was still there, in a sense, like, oh, I hear what people are saying and I'm nodding along, I'm making my faces and all that stuff, but I wasn't talking. And when I wanted to talk, I could not talk. Um, and I was having intense feelings of nobody wants to hear you talk. You don't have anything good to say or contribute to the group, you know, like shut up. Don't say anything. And I was literally stuffing my inner child down. Like my inner child was like, "Oh, I got to say something about that." And I was just like, and obviously it's not on purpose, but that's what I was doing. And everybody noticed, but no one said anything. So it took a minute and my therapist was like, I'm gonna call you out. What's going on? What's going on? And she knew exactly what was going on. And I was just like, I ain't got nothing to say. You know what I mean? And they were like, oh, you don't have anything to say? Like, what are you feeling? What's going on? And I'm just like, I don't have anything to say. I'm quiet. Let me be quiet because I'm so used to growing up with this super loud ass family that if I sat there quietly for 2 hours, no one would notice. They'd be like, "Oh, that's just Minu. She don't be saying stuff sometimes. Now, when she do say something, she'll never shut the fuck up. But but sometimes she just don't be saying nothing, and it is what it is. Like nobody would notice because everybody else is talking so fucking much that really no one would notice anything, and it would take for there to be an extended period of silence for someone to say, "Minu, how are you? How's things going?" And even then, I wouldn't really want to say much. I'm like, you motherfuckers don't give a shit about how I'm doing. Um, so it's just like it's a weird experience, and so when that happened, and as soon as group ended, I ran the fuck out. And then it came time for to have group again, and I canceled that group. And I go into my therapy session, and I sit down with my therapist, and I'm about to tell about work, right? But then I'm like, let me pause for a second because I know she's gonna say something. Literally, I was in the middle of saying something. I was like, but first, and then I paused, and then she was like, why'd you cancel group? And I was like, I fucking knew you was gonna say something. My therapist has squirrel brain, but she gonna remember that you canceled a session. And so I told her what I was feeling, what was going on, and I was like, I never run from therapy. I'm running from group therapy. The fuck is happening to me? And so she like explained to me what was going on. She could see exactly what was happening to me, how I was stuffing my inner child down and not allowing her to come out. I was excited to for something, and my therapist was being very nice about it, but she still in a way kind of rejected it. And even though she was saying, this is good, but I need a little bit more, I internalized that as, this is shit. Here you go, take it back and do it again. That's kind of how my body took it. So then it was kind of like, it was literally like you kicked your inner child and was like, see what the fuck? This is what you get when you try to do shit. Get your ass back. I'm sorry, Morticia. Morticia looked up like, what the fuck's going on? What did I do? I was like, I'm not pointing at you, baby. I'm sorry. um, but like literally kicking my inner child back into the closet for trying to come out and be excited about something she made. And I was like, I logically told myself you weren't doing this and it still happened. And I talked about how like I didn't really know what I was feeling, but I was really uncomfortable, especially once I realized that everyone else noticed that I was quiet. And she was like, all you had to do was say you didn't know what you were feeling. And I was like, huh? And then we also talked about the fact that I'm the only person in my group who has not cried in group therapy yet. I've been in this group since like February, March. I can't remember exactly, but I'm the only person who hasn't cried. And there's been people in my group who have like ugly cried for the whole 2 hours. I have not cried. And she said that, I used to be one of those people who would hold it in and then let it out every now and then to get it out, as opposed to being a consistent crier like some other people. Um, but she says now it's like you're forcing yourself not to cry. And I was just like, man, because crying hurt. It hurt your whole body. Like, I don't want to do that. Um, and she's like, look, I'm not going to force you to cry because I don't do well crying myself, but at least admit what you're feeling and what you're thinking, because we have built over the past several months, we have built a safe space with this group where we know, and you can know that if you do allow yourself to be vulnerable, everyone will support you and comfort you and care for you like they've done for every other person who's cried in group, like like you've done for every other person in group, you know and I was like, I mean, yeah, of course I've supported and cared for those people and empathized for them, but we're talking about me. Like, how are people going to react to me? And she's like, the same way they've reacted to everybody else. And my brain out, and I love saying this to my therapist. I hear you, but I don't hear you. Because I hear you saying it makes logical sense that everybody has been very kind, caring, and empathetic to every single person who has spoken about themselves, talked about their traumas, broke down crying. Everybody has done that. But on the inside, I'm feeling like, but I'm different. I'm the weird one. I'm the one nobody really likes. So if I get upset and cry, people won't take care of me. They'll just feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like this, like these are the thoughts that are running through my brain. And my therapist is like, I'm 100% sure they will not do that and that they do not think that you are weird or different or anything like that. If you allow yourself to be vulnerable, they will support you. And I know that's hard for me because I don't have experience with that. I don't have experience with people like truly comforting me when I'm upset. I either get completely ignored, and we're talking about family history here. I will either be completely ignored, I will be alone when it happens, so no one does anything because no one's there. Or I will get the what's wrong? What's wrong? Stop crying. Why are you crying? Da 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 da. You know what I mean? Instead of getting like some kind of love or comfort. So I never know what to expect when I'm upset around people. I've also been around some people who are emotionally constipated and been upset, and they didn't react too well to me being upset or having emotions. So I was just like not sure how this was going to go down, but she talked me into going to group. So I went to group.